"Ethan, after 18 years, we're eliminating your position," my boss said flatly, without even blinking. "Clear out your desk by the end of the day." My name is Ethan Carter, 55 years old, and up until that Monday morning, I was a senior systems analyst at Helix Technologies in Columbus, Ohio. For nearly 2 decades, I had been the backbone of that department. Through the transition from clunky dial-up to cutting-edge cloud systems, I was there. 3 CEOs came and went, entire management teams rotated, yet I remained, the constant force who trained new hires, recovered lost data, and sacrificed weekends and holidays without once asking for recognition or promotion. So when Michael called me into his office and I saw Rebecca from HR already sitting there, I knew the verdict before he spoke a word. The air had changed weeks earlier. I simply nodded, saying, "I understand." No anger, no begging, just quiet acknowledgement. Back at my desk, I packed my things one by one, the family photo, the cracked coffee mug my son had made in high school, the stubborn little cactus that had survived fluorescent lighting for nearly 20 years. Younger employees glanced at me but quickly looked back at their screens. Most of them were coders I had trained myself, talented kids, but clueless about the hidden layers of the architecture I had built, the custom software no one else could navigate, the admin credentials buried deep. "Ethan, I just heard," Beth from marketing whispered, her face tight with concern. "This is insane. You practically built this place." I forced a small shrug. "Companies change direction. Not like this. Not after everything you've done." Her voice rose, catching attention. I hushed her with a quiet, "It's fine." Of course, it wasn't fine. But I wasn't going to put on a scene. As I carried the box out, Michael stood in his doorway watching, not to say goodbye, but to make sure I left. What no one realized was that I was the most essential person in the building. Not because I was irreplaceable, but because I was thorough. I had built systems no consultant could untangle. I had documented every process, set up protocols at the request of legal during an old scandal, and yes, I had backups. They thought they were pushing out an aging employee. What they were really doing was lighting a fuse. In the car, I looked up at the 12-story building that had eaten most of my adult life. The security badge I'd handed in had been renewed 17 times. I started the engine, but I knew something they didn't. Wednesday was going to be interesting. I had joined Helix when my daughter Sophia was in kindergarten. Now she was finishing graduate school. Through acquisitions, mergers, and endless digital transformations, I was the quiet constant. My wife, Lauren, often joked the servers were my second family. She wasn't wrong. I knew every backdoor, every hidden path. So when Michael, the MBA type who called us resources instead of people, arrived 5 years ago, I tried to show him the depth of the systems. He didn't care. Buzzwords mattered more than reality. 6 months ago, he brought in a shiny consultant named Ryan Foster. Stanford grad, LinkedIn polished. From that point, I noticed permissions shifting, meetings happening without me, projects reassigned to younger staff. Then came the restructuring memo I was never meant to see. My name wasn't even on the chart. But that wasn't the only thing I saw. During a routine scan, I caught irregular transfers, payments to a shell company called Apex Dynamics. Registered just last year. No real address. The amount started small, then grew steadily, almost $2 million in 18 months. The approval trail led directly to our CFO, Mark Ellison. A quick check revealed Apex was owned by his brother-in-law. The fraud was simple but brilliant: inflate invoices just enough to avoid suspicion and pocket the difference. When I was fired, I didn't panic. I had backups. Files, emails, authorizations, years of breadcrumbs. The morning after, sitting in my home office with Lauren's coffee steaming beside me, I plugged in a flash drive and pieced together the scheme. It was bigger than I thought. Over 3 years, they'd siphoned nearly $5 million through multiple shell companies, with Michael and Ryan both complicit. Instead of rushing to the board with accusations, I built leverage. I baited Michael with a carefully crafted email about financial irregularities. His frantic voicemails confirmed everything. Then the CFO himself called me, pretending it was all a misunderstanding. When I mentioned his brother-in-law by name, the silence on the line told me I had him. Within hours, they doubled my severance package and begged for confidentiality. They still thought they were dealing with an old man desperate for money. They didn't realize I had already reached out to Robert Hale, a board member who trusted me from past collaborations. I gave him a full report, spreadsheets, business registrations, emails, the works. "I'm not looking for my job back," I told him. "I just want the truth exposed." He agreed to act. By Friday morning, every board member received my documentation. By that afternoon, the CFO was confessing under pressure, Michael was denying everything, and Ryan was trying to claim ignorance. But the evidence was airtight. Helix made headlines, executives under investigation for multi-million-dollar fraud. Investigators confirmed the scheme, criminal charges followed, and by Monday the board asked me to return, not as a systems analyst, but as Chief Information Security Officer, reporting directly to them. I didn't say yes immediately. After all, these were the same people who had let me be discarded. But eventually, I accepted, on my terms. Full audit authority. Independent budget control. Absolute oversight. They agreed. Because they had no choice. 6 months later, I sat in my corner office overlooking the skyline. The fraudsters were either facing prison or fleeing extradition. My former team reported directly to me now, with Stephen, the junior analyst I had mentored, running daily operations. I had built a bridge stronger than the one they tried to burn. When Lauren asked if I was happy, I paused. The rage had faded. What I felt was deeper than happiness. It was closure. I'd been underestimated, discarded, written off. But in the end, I had proven that the quiet man in the corner saw everything. Never underestimate someone who built the foundation you stand on. And if you're reading this, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Share this with someone who needs to be reminded that loyalty, patience, and quiet strength are far more dangerous than greed will ever be.